What's good, Ravens family? It's your boy JG. And today I want to talk about something that I think Todd Monken has to do, and that is incorporate Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews together in order for us to really achieve our potential as a great offense. And I actually think if we do this, it is the most important step for us to be a great and maybe even the best offense in the National Football League this year and a top offense for years to come, because it's something that is special that we have with Likely and Andrews. Most teams don't have two tight ends who are number one tight end caliber. I'm sold on Likely, right? I've always been sold on Andrews. I'm sure you guys have too. He's easily, in my opinion, a top three tight end in the league. And again, in a lot of cases, you could argue a top two tight end, depending on how you feel about the guys on the West Coast at that position, right? But 100% top three. Isaiah Likely, though, is not a top five tight end. I think he's definitely a top 10 tight end in the league. What team has that kind of combination, right? That you can reliably go to Isaiah Likely, you can reliably go to Mark Andrews. They also offer something very different, right? Andrews is more of a complete tight end. Andrews is able to do things like block at a high level, receive at a high level. And I think Mark Andrews' best trait is that him and Lamar are on the same page, so much so that they're able to dissect zones, right? Very, very easily. Where Isaiah Likely, he's an athlete, right? Isaiah Likely can make those jump ball plays. When it comes to man coverage, there's no linebacker that can consistently shut down Isaiah Likely if he's playing his best game, right? I think that the Ravens have to figure out, and specifically Todd Monken, this is a test for him. Todd Monken has to be able to put this together in a way that is similar to the Patriots when they had Gronkowski and Hernandez. The way that they were able to fool defenses, I really do think that we can do that this year. And then when you add the power run game that hopefully we're going to have this year, defenses are going to be in a bind, right? What do? You guys tell me if you're a defensive coordinator, right? And it is 1st and 10. If you put the box loaded, right, because you're trying to stop Lamar and you're trying to stop Derrick Henry, you have a two tight end set, which gives you the thought, oh, this is really happening. They're really going to try to, run it down our throats. But then a play action, and now either the defense has to go into a zone, you got Mark Andrews doing his thing, or they have to go to a man, because usually if you are trying to stop the run, you are having a man behind it. Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews can beat beat linebackers to their spots. This is something that we're the only team, I believe, in the NFL that can do this, right? The Chiefs have a really great tight end, as we all know, and they also have a good tight end that backs him up, right? I don't think he's as good as Isaiah Likely, and I know he doesn't have the potential that Isaiah Likely does, right? Isaiah Likely is for sure going to get a contract if it's not with the Ravens as a starting tight end in the league. 100% for sure, not a doubt in my mind. But can we capitalize? Can we take that next step and have a two tight end system that is excellent, that is dangerous, and that is able to do things that other teams just cannot do, right? We know that over the years, the Ravens have not ever been great at developing receivers, right? Now, there's going to be a big focus on Todd Monken developing receivers. Understandable, 100% for sure, we got that. However, it's now time to take that next step, right? To take the step to actually develop a team that can do things that other teams cannot do, right? Last year, the only thing that other teams couldn't do that we could do is the Lamar factor, right? Lamar's great. Everyone knows Lamar's great. We're not going to try to talk about that, right? Two-time MVP, my favorite player. I'm sure a lot of you guys' favorite player. We know how great Lamar is. But other than that, teams can run the ball effectively, just as effectively as we could without Lamar, right? If Lamar's out the game, our run defense disappears, right? Having a good number one receiver, an average number 2, 3, and 4 receivers, every team has that. And I would actually say that our situation is in the bottom half of most teams in the NFL, where at least other teams have a number 2 receiver that is a strict number 2 receiver and could jump into the Ravens and actually be our number 2 receiver over some of the players we had last year. Offensive line was good, but how much of that was really Lamar Jackson taking off pressure and creating, 11 on 11 scenarios where the average NFL offense is usually dealing with 10 versus 11 because the quarterback doesn't account into the run game as heavily, right? All these are factors that made us below average other than Lamar, right? And which is why Lamar is the MVP. And I think for the last couple of years, there's only one other player, Patrick Mahomes, which you can even state has had a large impact to the same level as Lamar. Josh Allen, maybe. But again, Josh Allen had vastly more talented wide receivers than the Ravens have had. So that is something that we have to develop. We have to be able to say, hey, wait a minute, we can beat you so many different ways. It's not just Lamar, right? Look at the other best teams in the league, right? Patrick Mahomes can beat you. Travis Kelce can beat you, right? They have won football games without Patrick Mahomes because Travis Kelce has a big game, right? You have Andy Reid. Andy Reid can beat you on his own, right? And we know that because he's done it everywhere, right? Even though he's the best now with Patrick Mahomes, he was great with Donovan McNabb. He was great with Alex Smith, right? So that's right there 3 ways the team can beat you on offense. Let's look at teams like, for example, the 49ers. The 49ers, and I'm using these teams because they were in the Super Bowl last year, right? The 49ers could beat you with Christian McCaffrey and the run game. Kyle Shanahan, one of the greatest offensive minds the last decade. You have the ability to catch screens and run for players like Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, right? If you put a list of players together, the Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers on offensive players, and you say, hey, Lamar's the best, who are the next 4? It would all be 49ers players, right? It would all be 49ers players, right? Now, again, you can argue whether Kittle beats Mark Andrews, right? But last year, Kittle had a better season. I'm talking last year. So this is something that we have to discuss and have to develop and look at Todd and say, Todd, Lamar can't be your only answer. That was the issue with Greg, right? Again, Greg Roman is an offensive guru when it comes to running the football. But the fact of the matter is that when Lamar Jackson was not in the game, we could not even function as an offense. We were not beating teams who scored 20 points on us, right? We could not run the ball consistently, right? Shout out to J.K. Dobbins. He was the only way we were able to run the ball because we just said, hey, we're going to force it down the throat, right? J.K. is better than a lot of these players, so we'll make it happen. That's the only way, and that only happened late in the season, right? At the beginning of the season, even J.K. was having some trouble, but then he got injured and because he was coming back from injury, let me say. So we have to get to a point where we have multiple pitches, right? You have to have the fastball, which is Lamar. Where's your curveball? This year, right, can our curveball be the 2 tight end system, right? Can our curveball be that, which other teams can't practice for because they don't have 2 tight ends to mimic that? And then can we also have a slider, which is Derrick Henry? This is what I'm talking about. Currently, we have one fastball. We're a one-pitch team right now. And that pitch is Lamar Jackson. And if Lamar is having a bad game, we lose, right? And that is just not good enough in this football league. So I want to know what you guys think about this. I think this is Todd Monken's number one issue, number one thing to solve this season. And if he solves this and we see Likely and Andrews working together at a high level, I would be really impressed because other coordinators could not break that code. And I really want to see what happens. So you guys let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Go Ravens.